Welcome back to a resurrected edition of Garuda Jin Gunk. Folks, I've been listening to communists on university campuses. These are students, by the way, who try to answer questions from inquisitive folks who stick a microphone in their face. And I am dumbfounded about how much they don't know about their own positions. Oy, freaking vey. So I went over to the International Assessment of Adult Competencies website. I found a fountain of information on the current situation in literacy. Let me briefly, very quickly, announce the 6 findings they came up with. I know time is short, but this is important. So, if you fall below level 1, you are part of the 4% of people who may have no literacy skills at all. Or if you do, they're very limited. For example, they might be able to read and understand basic sight words or very short, simple sentences on familiar topics. Remember, topics they don't like, they will say, I'm not comfortable speaking about that. Level 1. If you are level 1, you are 17% of adults in our country. So you can read brief text on familiar topics and locate a single explicit stated piece of information. So there you go, level 1. Level 2. 33% of adults in our country live here. At this level, adults can make matches between a text and information that may require low-level paraphrasing or making simple inferences. For example, it's raining, therefore I should indeed take an umbrella. Wow. Level 3, 34% of people in our nation fall here. Now, this is often considered the minimum proficiency necessary for success in the modern workforce and higher education. Adults at level 3 can read and understand dense or lengthy text. They can identify, interpret, and evaluate one or more pieces of information and make appropriate inferences. Level 4. If you live here, you are 11% of the population in America. At this level, you can perform multi-step operations and integrate, interpret, and synthesize information from complex or lengthy text. Level 5. 1% of Americans dwell here. This is the highest level of literacy proficiency. Individuals at level 5 can search for and process information across multiple dense text. They can synthesize information, evaluate evidence-based arguments, and understand subtle rhetorical strategies. So there you have it. 6 levels. Very interesting. Intro to the myth of self-defense, hyperbole, mind reading, and the illusion of preparedness. Look, Sensei Frank was saying to Sensei Joe, Kempo is okay, but it's not as good as my system. You should drop the Kempo classes and go all in on my seminars. My stuff is based on real self defense scenarios. I overheard Frank's pitch to my friend Joe. Wait, scratch that. Everyone in Joe's dojo heard it. Frank had just torpedoed Joe's whole program right in front of all of us. This was Frank's version of a hard sell, or what I call a Darwinian sell. You see, he fancied himself a lion, tearing out a gazelle's throat in front of the herd. How is Joe supposed to survive this overly competitive materialist sensei? To me, the answer was obvious. By that point, I was 35 years deep into martial practice. I'd seen more than my share of instructors who saw students as walking ATMs. You know how they make their money: sell rank, sell uniforms, sell belts, sell the illusion. And if they can, they'll spin up weekend seminars. That way, they rake in fees from the current students and new recruits. Compared to the free demos at malls or the flashy exhibitions outside movie theaters, whenever a martial arts movie is being shown, weekend seminars were cash cows. And they still are. Now, I'm not saying every weekend self defense seminar is a scam. That would be a sort of, a slip up in my logic there, right? But I can tell you most of the ones I attended felt like pouring water into a bucket that was already full, except at the end, you earned a pretty certificate, something perfect for a selfie. End of the intro. We will pick up here tomorrow on part one. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Garuda out.